Hi, everybody. We are on week 2 of white collar crime. I'm hoping everybody's doing well. And I wanted to cover a couple of housekeeping rules that I wanted to discuss with you. First of all, I sent you all an email. On that email, I'm expecting you to reply that you received it so you know what my expectations are. Many of you know my expectations because you've had me before, and I'm a stickler on some things to the point where some people are like, really? But I am a stickler, and I laugh because a couple of my students just wrote to me recently saying, thank you for being a stickler. You made me stay on track, and I'm hoping that I will be working with you as well to stay on track. So, that in mind, if you or somebody in your family becomes sick or there's a reason that you can't get a paper in time, you need to let me know before the moment that it's due. You cannot, well, you can, but I would prefer that you let me know in advance. Otherwise, you'll be getting a zero, and I'll be writing to you saying what's going on. And I will make you crazy with that because I will write to you each and every time and saying what's going on, why are you late, what can I do to help, and I won't let go until I get an answer because I want to make sure everybody in this class is very successful. If for some reason you don't understand what the question is, or you don't understand what the issue is because of a slew of reasons, send me a text, send me an email, call me. I'm in my house. I'm going by the rules. I am not an essential worker to anybody. The only one I'm essential to is you for the next 6 weeks. So if you need any questions answered, I will help you. My number is 413-883-3537. Let's talk about unsafe products. Your discussion is going to be due this week. It has to be in by Thursday at 11:59. This is the only part that cannot come in late ever for any reason whatsoever. It must be in on time. But for some reason it doesn't come in. Don't stop there because you can put your responses in and still get 60%. So that's really important to know. So, what are these unsafe products that they're talking about? We're going to be talking about big tobacco and the lawsuits with that, the automobile industry. Think of like the Pinto. Think of the cars that have had safety recalls because of deaths. How many deaths are out there because of safety recalls? Think of toys and how come the suits are going forward. Costco, not Costco where you go buy, but Costco where it had a lot of furniture for children. Resistance to safety devices that are out there and using substandard products to make them. Defects in design, we see those in cars, we see those in strollers, we see them in almost all our day-to-day products that we're dealing with. Adulterated food, what happens when something gets put in your food that turns out to be a hazard to you? One of the things that's a hazard that people are seeing now is the PFAS, which are located in your Teflon pans. And people knew about those, yet they continued to make them. So what happens? Lawsuits happen. Is that part of this? The meat packing industry and the poultry industry, some of these are frightening, and you need to kind of look at those. One of the things that scares me about that now is our federal government recently has said you can take your chickens and process them overseas in China and then have them come back here. That is a frightening thought to me. So I think that I would love to see somebody write about that because I find that very fascinating and worrisome, and kind of I cringe when I'm saying, "Where's my chicken been?" Because I eat a lot of chicken, but I'm telling you, I think I'm going to be going to vegetables out of the garden after this. What other food products that are, not healthy? Have they put growth hormones in them? Have they put something in them to make the color look good? Do they wash them? Your carrots, are your carrots washed in bleach? Does this hurt you? Your baby carrots. Does this hurt you? Then we can talk about dangerous drugs and devices and what are some of the dangerous drugs and devices out there. Well, I can think of a few of them, but I think of one that my son was on when he was a baby because he was so asthmatic, only to find out it was speed for an infant and it was not good for them. And then I think of my mother who took drugs to become pregnant, and 7 of us later, and that it's causing cancer in women. So look at the drug industries and how do they do their studies and how do they hide their studies so they won't be sued, and what do they do to prevent things happening? I want to talk about, there's a huge area in the drugs part that's being tested and that you need to look at. Also, the devices, you can think of the Dagon shield. You can rely tampons was a really interesting one. Rely tampons that we're being told these are causing, toxic shock syndrome. I'm one of six girls in my family. There were seven in my family, one boy and six girls. My sister Debbie got toxic shock syndrome, and she ended up in the hospital for weeks with this and almost died. And why? Because they didn't want to give any of those research information out there. And until it was forced to, then what happened was people went out there and got very sick. Or quackery. I always think of quackery. What is quackery? Well, am I going to take this wonderful pill and become a size 9? I wasn't born a size 9. I'm not going to be a size 9. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is too good to be true. So, is it going to make me look younger? If I put stuff on my face, am I going to get rid of my wrinkles? You know what's going to get rid of my wrinkles? Nothing. So I sit there and say, there's a lot of things on this week, unsafe products, and the lawsuits that go with them. The drugs, the devices. Um, there's different cases that are in your book. If you have any problem finding any, just give me a holler. I'll give you some. We can work. We can look together. The next part of this week's paper is going to be um, environmental crime case studies, and they gave you when they wrote this in, they gave you a bunch to pick from. The Exxon Valdez incident, one of my favorite case studies. And you get to pick these and pick which one you want to do. But you only have to pick one. So pick one, and I would start looking at them and say, which one intrigues me the most? Okay, which one do I like the most? And then through your chosen topic, how were the events and agencies responsible for the crimes they were accused of? What did they do? Did they get sued? Um, what ended up happening? Now, I know that some of you have looked at the station nightclub fire. You could do your paper on that this week, but you can't use last week's paper. Just so you know, you can never regurgitate a paper on here, but you can look at that and look into it more depth. The Scotia coal miner disaster. You know what is really frightening to me right now is there's a lot of these guidelines that are being lessened, that you don't have to meet certain criteria. So what does that do for the impact for your children and my children? Are they more safe? Are they less safe? And should we be looking at more regulation or less regulation, or regulations choking us to death? So look at it. Tell me what you think. You have a whole bunch there to look at. If you see one up there, and if you don't see one up there that you don't like, and you see one that you do want to do, give me a call. I can adjust with you. If it's a good one, we'll adjust together on it. All right. Any questions? Holler. Let me know. I do know that I've had some people tell me that they find it very difficult to watch these videos for more than 10 minutes because they have no time in their life. So I'm hoping I've kept it under 10 minutes. I'm hoping you watch it, and I'm hoping you all do well. Bye bye.